Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the It's in Queens podcast, covering events in the most diverse county in the world.
That's us.
The third week in March, which is March 22nd to 28th, 2019. You know, if I could think of a song to describe this week and the events, you know that song, Let's Get Physical?
Olivia Newton-John,
Let's get
absolutely.
physical.
The video was banned from MTV for a little bit.
Really? Why?
Yeah. Too explicit.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, this isn't explicit, but we have some physical stuff. This is a weekend. It's March. It's still cold outside, but there's a lot of stuff.
You know where
going
it's
on, a lot
warm,
of
though?
Physical activity.
It's warm right here.
It's warm in our hearts. Well,
That's
in your
right.
heart, my heart is cold
Oh,
as
come
always.
on here.
The first thing we have is professional wrestling in the borough.
I'm going to take you down, Mackay.
Right, not on this show.
Oh, okay.
We will not be doing professional wrestling, but the St. Sebastian's Parish Center, which has that whole big basketball court with pull-out stands and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
is going to be hosting. It's called Three the Hard Way.
Like
It's
the movie, right? Wasn't there a movie 3 the Hard Way?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. It is going to have everything that professional wrestling has: heavyweights, tag team, and the Fatal 4-Way fight.
Please, not the Fatal 4-Way.
That's
Anything
March
like that.
22nd.
Steel cage match?
I don't think
Oh.
they can do a steel cage
All
match.
right.
That's the Texas style,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
This is Queen style.
Okay.
Some of the participants will be Darius Carter. He's supposed to be the most famous.
Okay.
Not that I know of him. The Ugly Ducklings and
Oh.
the Deadly Scion Squad.
Ooh, they sound mean. I bet they're the heels, right? There's always a hero.
Yeah, they're the bad guys.
Yeah,
they're
they're
the
bad
villains.
guys. Yep.
So that's kind of interesting.
That is very
Really,
interesting.
you get up close and you actually meet the guys. They were in St. Sebastian's about 5 years ago. I
Okay.
remember. I remember because I have a friend who's a pro wrestling guy.
No kidding.
Yeah, so they were there a while ago, and you actually met them all because they're there.
Oh yeah, they're cool. Yeah, they're gonna hang out, probably do autographs afterwards and
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yep.
And you can grab a pint over at Donovan's
That's
pub,
right.
right? And
That's
then
right.
go see them wrestle at St. Sebastian. I think that's a fun night.
Yeah.
March 22nd.
March 22nd, 7 o'clock. Along the physical, Let's Get Physical line,
Wow.
we have the New York Arm Wrestling Championships.
Oh, sun's out, guns out, buddy. Let's do it.
Yes. Some of these people are coming from as far away as Russia to
Ooh.
compete.
I'm not wrestling anybody from Russia. They're gonna beat me.
Right. More than 100 contestants, different age groups, males and females.
All right.
Obviously, they're competing for prizes and especially glory.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, remember Over the Top when he turned his hat around? That's when
That's when he was serious.
That's when he was serious. That's it.
Well, that's at Cheap Shots Bar, which is on Union Turnpike in Flushing. 149th Street in Union Turnpike. Is that
Yeah.
really Flushing?
Yeah, it's right off of.
That still counts as
It's
Flushing.
almost
It's
yeah.
so confusing. in
It's on the
Queens.
way over to like Jamaica.
Would
Really?
you could call that? Could you call that Bayside even?
No.
You couldn't call
That's-
that Bayside. Could you call it? Forget it. It's in Flushing. It's in Flushing.
You could almost. It's almost freshman. No,
Union
it's not.
Turnpike past St. John's.
No, that's before St. John's. Well,
it's
depending which way you're
before
coming.
St. John's?
Yeah, like that's
definitely
almost like
Flushing
that's
then.
almost like Main
Flushing
Street
then.
in Union.
All right, that's
Yeah, it's
Flushing.
closest to Main
Cheap
Street. in
Shots Bar. Get out there, and I think they're still accepting
Contestants,
if
no
you want to
kidding.
get on there. Yeah, if you want to get out there.
Now it's called Cheap Shots Bar, but it's a clean match.
It's a clean man. No
we don't
cheap
want
shots.
any of that.
But the drinks.
Leave the drama
are
home.
cheap.
That's right.
Are cheap. Inexpensive drinks bar
That's right.
would be another way of
That's
putting it.
probably much more.
And then we have. Are you ready for this?
Give it to me.
Let's get physical.
Oh,
Number 3.
yep.
There is a 30K run in Flushing Meadow Corona Park.
Wow.
30K.
30K.
So it's what is it? It's
They usually do
5 kilometers is 3.1 miles.
and that's 5 kilometers.
So-
The 5Ks are like the nice.
So multiply that by 6.
I can't.
It's 18.6 miles.
Oh,
18.6 miles. It's
that's
sponsored.
pretty much a. And they call that a tune-up. That's
Yeah,
almost
well,
a full marathon.
it's a tune-up.
almost, right?
It's a tune-up because the Queens Marathon is next month. and
26.2
We'll be
miles.
talking about that.
Yeah, of course.
And this is a tune-up. It's organized by Queens Distance Runners.
Speedy's a very busy man.
Yeah, our friend Speedy Montalvo. And they'll have pacers there if you want.
Yeah.
They'll have nutritionists there. They'll have a live DJ playing music during the run.
It'd be cool if the DJ ran with the turntables.
Oh, could you imagine that?
Oh,
Yeah, that'd be.
Now we're talking.
Anyway, so that's there.
Right.
That's the 24th, as is the arm wrestling. And then I have some other things that, in my mind, count as physical. First of all, it is the most physical Peter Pan you will ever see.
Ooh.
There is 2 British companies. They're coming all the way over from England. One is called Tutti Frutti. The other is the York Theatre Royal. They are offering a Peter Pan told through the eyes of Wendy Darling. You remember Wendy Darling?
Of course, sure.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the kids.
Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, right.
So they're a bunch of kids, and they're dealing with all of the stuff, the growing up. But apparently, they fly. They fly through the air in this.
The greatest of ease.
They fly through the air. They get in fights, and they sail. They get on a boat and sail.
Wow, good production
And-
value. Where's
yep,
this happening?
And they swim. And this is all at Flushing Town Hall on
No
March
kidding.
24th.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen a picture of them flying.
Okay.
I didn't see anything about them sailing. So that's
So it says workshop and show. What's the workshop?
there's a
about?
workshop at 1:00
teach you how to
where you
fly?
learn where they teach you the tricks of the
That's
trade.
pretty cool.
So yeah, and then the show starts at 2:15.
All right.
That's pretty credible, and that counts as let's get physical. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're on a trapeze or
Right.
Oh.
And then the other thing is we have a circus coming to town.
really,
Yeah, but this is
it's
a
not
very-
Ringling Brothers, so they're out of
No,
business.
they're out of business. Thanks to the ban on the elephants.
Yeah, that started it, but I think it
Well,
was
this happens to be a very physical circus.
nice.
It's the new Shanghai circus, so they're actually from China.
acrobatic, right?
Yes. So these guys, they are acrobats, they are jugglers, they're contortionists. They do all those things.
Oh yeah,
I've-
they can
I've-
fit into like a little square box.
Yeah, I saw them before, and they do that thing when they go up into the air on the chairs, and they're doing. Oh, it's
Look,
crazy.
I can't help but respect that what they do because
Yeah.
I can't imagine even practicing that. That
Yeah,
would scare me to death.
yeah, I know. Oh, that practice. You know, it's like in American football, most of the injuries happen in practice.
That's right.
I bet you it's the same thing.
Yeah.
most of the injuries happen. They, but you know, this is ancient Chinese text. These the traditions that they're using and the techniques go back 2,000 years.
Well, they got
So-
it locked, I guess.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. And I guess if you're going to be that physical,
Yeah.
you're going to want to eat.
I want to eat now.
Well, we have, because this is Queens, we have an interfaith Seder
I like it.
on March 28th. It's actually
Whether
after
you're-
the weekend.
Whether you're Jewish or not, you come
Right.
in and
The idea is
welcome you.
they actually go out of their way to try and get people of different faiths,
great.
including Muslims and obviously Catholics.
you know,
Christians.
Rob, that's the only way we're all going to get along.
It's the only way we're all going to get along. In fact, because it's interfaith, the food that they're
Mhm.
going to serve at this Seder
Right?
is kosher,
Of course.
halal.
No kidding.
Halal is
It's a way of preparing food, right?
it's the Muslim
Yeah,
kosher.
tradition,
It's,
yeah.
it's according to Muslim traditions
hmm
and vegetarian
No kidding.
for modern people. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to cover all bases there.
So it's at Common Point in Queens. It's organized by the Queens Central Y.
Common point is where?
It is in Forest Hills. Sorry. And so you can go with people of different faiths and discuss the story of Exodus.
Even ye of little faith. can
Moses,
go.
yep, and vegetarians.
Vegetarians welcome.
Moses and the Exodus, the
Mhm.
children of Israel. It's a great story.
Learn it.
They ate manna from heaven during the Exodus, but there won't be any of that.
Oh,
I don't know if manna
There's only
was
so much you can
was
do.
manna kosher. That's a good question.
That's
Was
so.
the manna in the Bible kosher?
I would suggest everyone stop this podcast now and listen and then Google that. Just kidding. Don't stop it.
Then we also have a couple of other things that I felt are worth mentioning.
Yeah.
I'll be quick. I know that you guys are busy.
This is Rob's.
Jack Howard Potter is a sculptor living in who is based in Long Island City. Many years in the business, sculptures everywhere. They're opening up an exhibition, sort of a retrospective of his work.
Mhm.
It's entitled "Bringing Steel to Life." Now, again, that's steel. That's a physical kind of
Oh, yeah.
exhibition. Yeah.
You have to be physical to
Right.
hold it the way you want it to.
Exactly. So they're going to be showing stuff from the last 16 years of his career at the LIC Arts Open Raw Gallery, which is at the Factory in Long Island City. It'll be running from March 28th until April 26th
get a
if
whole
you want
month
to
to
check
watch
it out.
that, yeah.
But the opening reception, when you can meet the man,
That's it.
right, is March 28th at 5 o'clock.
I would go down there and give him my blue steel look. You know what that is?
Ah, what's the blue steel look?
Right there. Got it? Got it?
Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Good thing. I'm glad
So-
you've never given me the blue steel look.
You don't want that.
We have another global mashup at Flushing Town Hall.
Yep.
And this involves the Brain Cloud, which will play ragtime, bluegrass, blues, and cowboy ditties. Again, cowboy ditties, it's physical. And then Romanshka will play Russian, Balkan, Romanian, and Gypsy music.
That's cool.
And then the two of them will join on the stage and perform.
And there's also dance lessons prior.
Dance lessons
too. You
prior.
get to-
Yep, you got
Maybe
that.
we'll do a little line dancing, maybe? What do you
I
think?
don't for gypsy music.
No, I
oh,
was
for
thinking
blue
for
dance.
the bluegrass.
We'll see what happens. We'll see how the night goes.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Royalty, the
that's- yeah.
Queensboro Performing Arts Center. Now remember, the Queensboro Performing Arts Center is under renovation.
Mhm.
So this is actually they're presenting it, but it's at the OLBS Theater, which
Our
is in
Lady
Bayside.
of Blessed Sacrament.
Our Lady of Blessed Sacrament Theater, but the theater is very big.
Okay.
Rock and Roll Royalty. Now we have Matthew and Gunnar Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about them?
I do. If you remember them from the 80s, which I do because I'm a child of the 80s.
Okay.
They were a pair of musicians from California, Ricky Nelson's kids. They had long blonde hair,
I
straight.
think they still do.
And they were
Were they a child band, like a boy band,
they
child
were
prodigy?
young. They weren't, I mean, I'm sure they were playing music from a young age because Ricky Nelson was a musician from a young
So
age.
who was Ricky Nelson?
Ricky Nelson's
exactly?
from the Ozzie and Harriet show, if you remember that late 50s, early 60s
Wow.
TV show. He was one of the first teenage hearththrobs, actually, probably before
Ah.
Elvis,
Before James Dean.
before James Dean. Yeah, he was a very
Ah.
wholesome kid, sang a lot of, as
Wholesome
a matter
music.
of fact, he's actually in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's how
Oh, okay.
big he got.
But he died in a plane crash
He
at
did.
a young age.
Yeah, 45.
So these two kids,
Matthew and Gunnar,
Gunnar
those
Nelson,
are his kids.
so they were
yep.
widowed by their father at a young age.
Yes, they lost their dad. young,
Okay.
yeah.
Now there's another guy named Bobby Brooks Wilson.
Right, and that's Jackie Wilson's son. And Jackie
And-
Wilson was a great soul and R&B singer. Lonely Teardrops is one of his big hits. Had a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
energy. We performed. He was really
1950s and 60s.
50s and 60s. Yep,
Okay.
yep. And he also died young too, but I don't remember the circumstances.
Okay, so they've got the children, identical twins, son of Ricky Nelson,
Matthew
and
and
then
Gunnar.
Bobby Brooks Wilson, who is
Mhm.
the son of James Wilson. They no, who the son of who?
Jackie Wilson.
Jackie Wilson. James Wilson is the there's a professor,
Okay.
James Q. Wilson. They will be
Nelson
performing
family.
hits.
So Hello Mary Lou is a Ricky Nelson song. Traveling Man's a Ricky Nelson song. So I guess they're not
So
going
they'll
to
be doing their parents' songs.
Their parents' songs,
Okay,
yeah, it's a
they'll
tribute
be
to
doing
their
their
parents.
songs.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of fun. The Museum of the Moving Image, they do so much we can't let a week go by
No, we
without
gotta
talking
talk
about
about
them.
them.
They have an ongoing program called Science on the Screen, and what it involves is they show a movie which has some kind of a theme, and then they actually have experts that in the field of the subject matter of the movie, and they have a panel discussion afterwards. So in this case, they're going to show the movie The Best Years of Our Lives, which is actually from 1946.
Okay.
Won an Oscar.
Okay.
And it's about World War II returning veterans readjusting to society and dealing with their injuries.
hmm
And then a historian by the name of David Serlin and a technology expert named Anita Pearl will talk about prosthetics and what they call non-normative bodies.
Right. So, normative, I guess, would be 2 legs, 2
Yeah,
arms,
yeah.
and
So
all your facilities. I mean,
Yeah.
some of these guys came back missing limbs
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So,
more of a thing now because technology is so much better that
Right.
soldiers are more apt to live and they're all back to come back with. So it'll be kind of, you watch a movie, an Oscar-winning movie from 1946,
Mhm.
and then you get to hear a whole presentation about.
yeah, so what if you have a child who's like who had born without an
yeah.
arm or a leg or something like that, it's good to bring them and
Sure.
sort of show them that this type of non-normative body on
Plus,
screen.
and you can find out what's going on in the prosthetics movement.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to mention was the Conbrio Ensemble,
Combrio.
which is a
Yes, Combrio.
brio is like energy. You know, they talk about a bucking bronco has a brio.
Yeah.
So this is the Conbrio Ensemble.
All right. So they got the
it's
with energy ensemble.
Yeah, and they perform all over Queens. They're at the Volker Orth Museum in Flushing, a historical house, and they are going to play live music, including ditties from Handel, Brahms, and Schubert. So there you go. It's the Triathlon Plus.
We got a lot
but I'm
going
sure
on.
that I forgot something. Would you mind telling me?
We got the Queens World Film Festival. We had Don and Kath
Sure.
on last week.
We-
That's going to run
Starts
starting
Thursday.
and it's going to go through the 31st.
Yep.
Or 30th.
Through the 31st, 21st to 31st. I was at the opening reception press conference this morning.
Name dropper.
Yes,
Yeah.
with all my film buddies.
Right.
I met the guy who directed and wrote a film about two Hasidic girls from Williamsburg who basically ran away from home, and they go on a road trip around the U.S.
No kidding. That sounds like a cool picture.
Yeah, that is kind of fun. And then I met the two actors and writers of a movie that's it's an E.E. Cummings play. It's sort of inspired by an E.E. Cummings play poem.
Poem.
Sorry,
Yep.
poem. So that's kind of fun. And I also there's a documentary on Ron Artest, our
Yeah,
beloved.
I want to check that one out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's our Queens native, Queensbridge native, who played about 15 seasons of pro NBA basketball.
Yeah. Some of them as Meta World Peace.
He always had sort of a chip on his shoulder. Remember,
Yes.
he once jumped into the crowd
At
fighting
Detroit. Yeah. That
And
was a
I
big
remember
one.
once he took the video camera was filming him, and he took it and crashed it on the floor.
Yeah.
So anyway, apparently this is about his mental health issues. So it's a
Nice.
2-hour thing. So that's
Right.
kind of good.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I was going to say it's nice that they did a movie about E. Cummings poem.
Poems,
Because
yeah.
I've written a poem. The only thing that inspired was a restraining order. See what I did there?
Really?
No, it's a joke.
Wrote a
bring it
poem
around.
that inspired a restraining order.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
got it.
Now you got it.
Got it.
All right. Took a
All
second.
right.
We got
Yeah,
there,
he's,
though.
He's here all night. Anyway, remember, I'm actually wearing It's
That's
in
right.
Queens. Remember, you can find everything on it'sinqueens.com and
Maybe we can
hashtag It's in Queens.
That's right, on all social media. And also make sure that you're buying tickets for
Queen's
Queen's
Taste,
Taste on May
May
7th
7th.
at New York Hall of Science. We're going to hopefully maybe we'll get a
It-
couple restaurants on the podcast
Yeah.
and talk to them.
Yeah. And I guess that's about it.
I think that's it.
Again,
were
my
you?
name is Rob Mackay from the Queens Tourism Council, and
Yeah.
that would make you
That makes me Chris Donovan.
Chris Donovan. Thank you very much for consuming this podcast, whether you watched it or just listened to it
Yeah, and you know what? Try to give us some reviews
or
on
read it on a
iTunes.
transcript. Do they
Oh.
transcribe them now?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. maybe you listen to it on Google Translate, something like that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Thank you for consuming this podcast. Please, there's a lot going on. Keep it in the borough this weekend, and we'll see you next week.